Hi, I'm Rahmat.
I'm Richard.
And I'm Anthonieta.
And this story
could
save
your life. In this series, we present to you true stories of crimes that happen in our country. We hope that by sharing these stories, we all become more aware of the types of crimes that happen here. And by being aware, we become smarter at detecting and hopefully preventing similar crimes. And as always, we welcome feedback. Reach out to us on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and WhatsApp. So with that, let's get started. Today, we bring you the story of a woman who goes missing and a police search that leads to a septic tank. Sometime around the 15th of May 2020, Janet Ogbonnaya is trying to reach his mother. He has been calling her phone, but the calls are not going through. He tries one more time. This time the phone rings. Someone picks up the phone, but it's not his mother's voice that answers. It's a male voice. The voice tells him that his mother had been kidnapped and that the family has to pay a ransom of 5 million naira for her release. Now, Chinedu had heard about other people being kidnapped before. There are news reports of kidnappings happening around the country on a weekly basis, sometimes even daily.
Honestly, kidnapping has become a business in Nigeria.
I know. And SBM Intelligence, which is this geopolitical research firm, they report that over $18 million has been paid to kidnappers between 2011 and 2020. But either way, Chinedu never imagined that a family member, his own mother, would be a kidnapped victim. Before he could reply to the voice on the call, the line goes dead.
Janet Ogbonnaya was a 55-year-old widow. She had beautiful fair skin, kind eyes, and a gentle smile. She was from Uzoitem in Bende local government area of Abia State. Now, Abia State is in the southeastern part of Nigeria. This is where one of Nigeria's most commercial cities, Aba, is located. The city is known for its production and manufacture of textiles, pharmaceuticals, soap, plastics, footwear, and cosmetics. And there are also distilleries and breweries. There are 2 photos of Janet that seem to be widely circulated on social media. Here, take a look at this.
But in these photos, she definitely does not look 55. She looks younger, maybe early 40s.
I know. In one photo, she is wearing an army green head wrap and a beautiful green and pink blouse made of African wax prints. In another photo, Janet is seen wearing something that looks like a religious outfit, like the type nuns or reverend sisters would wear. The one Janet wore was all white. This could be because she was a member and possibly even an elder in Cherubim and Seraphim Church. Members of this particular religious society are widely known for their white garments. She is even said to have been called Mother of Israel by the church. Now, Janet was also an actual mother of 5 children whom she loved and never wanted to be separated from. She lived in Gwagwalada, which is in Nigeria's Federal Capital Territory, Abuja, with her children. We are not quite sure what she did for a living, but one of the sources we checked said that she was preparing to start a poultry business.
Now, when Chinedu did not see his mother at home the night of May 14th, he knew something was wrong. Even if she went out during the day, she was always back home by evening. And the call he just received confirms his worst nightmare. Something is wrong. Chinedu tries to call his mother's phone again, hoping to at least get confirmation that she was okay. The line is not going through. Chinedu does the only thing that he can do next. He files a police report with the Nigeria Police Force, probably at a station in Gwagwalada near his home. Now in Nigeria, the relatives of an abducted victim do not always report to the police because the kidnappers often threaten to kill the victim if the police are called.
But do we know if the kidnapper threatened him?
Well, it's not clear in this case if the alleged kidnapper threatened him, but we do know that Chinedu files a police report, and it's a good thing that he did because the police immediately swing into action. Somehow, the police trace a possible location. It's a house owned by Johnson Emmanuel in Wumba District, Lokogoma, Abuja. We don't know how the police found this location. Maybe they were able to trace the call, or maybe Janet told someone where she was going. Either way, the police make their way to the home of Johnson Emmanuel.
At the time, Johnson was 38 years old and a welder. Johnson is a tall man, dark in complexion, and a little skinny. According to Daily Sun, he is from E02 South local government area of Imo State. He is a father to 4 children from his former wife, who he said he divorced. He divorced her when he found out that she was pregnant with another man's child. You see, Johnson traveled to Qatar to work back in 2008, probably for a construction job, given his skills as a welder. He returned to Nigeria in 2014 when his work permit expired and his wife was pregnant. Johnson belonged to a Facebook group known as Isha's group, and this group is mainly for members of Cherubim and Seraphim.
Wait, isn't that Janet's church?
That's right. In this Facebook group, Johnson became friends with Janet and they started chatting. According to Johnson, one thing led to another and they started dating each other. Now, he says that they would always meet at his house, never at her own house. Also, whenever they drove to his house, she would insist that he drive her car while she sat in the back passenger seat.
Oh, as if he's her driver and she's just the passenger.
That's right. She clearly did not want anyone to associate the two of them as a couple. But according to Johnson, there was definitely a relationship between them, even if it was secret.
Now, when the police showed up in front of Johnson's house in Wumba District, Lokogoma, Abuja, they couldn't find him. But they didn't stop looking for him. About 3 weeks after Chinedu had filed the kidnapped persons report, the Nigeria police somehow traced Johnson to his village all the way in Isiekenesi, Idiato, local government of Imo State. That's about a 10-hour drive south of Abuja. Now, we don't know exactly how the police traced Johnson to his village.
Maybe they interviewed some of Johnson's neighbors in the area who might have known about his village?
Yeah, maybe. But either way, the police showed up at Isiekenesi, his village. Now, when the police get to the village, they arrest 3 men.
Johnson Emmanuel was arrested along with his 2 brothers, Gideon Emmanuel, 31 years, and Success Emmanuel, 27 years. The police also recovered Janet's car. She drove a green Toyota Highlander Jeep, but when the police found it, it had been repainted to maroon.
So, the police have suspects. They have her car. But where is Janet?
Right, I'm getting to that. At this point, the police do not know where Janet is until they started their interrogation. During the interrogation, the suspect revealed that Janet was dead and buried.
On the 4th of June 2020, the 3 Emmanuel brothers led a team of investigators along with pathologists back to Johnson's residence at Wumba District, Lokogoma, Abuja. Johnson's house in Lokogoma was actually still under construction. Only one part of the house was complete. Johnson led the police to the uncompleted area, and that's where they found Janet's body. She had been buried in a septic tank.
Oh my God.
I know. After her body was exhumed, she was taken to the University Teaching Hospital in Gwagwalada for forensic examination.
According to Johnson's confession, he said he was dating Janet for 2 years and that he had no intention of killing her. He said that she would go to his house, stay with him, make love, but then she always leaves. Janet never slept over at Johnson's place, saying that she didn't want to leave her children at home by themselves. On the 14th of May, Janet and Johnson drove over to his house. When they got to the house, they stayed for a while and made love. After that, he went out to get them some food to eat. But before he left, he told her that tonight she would spend the night in his house. Of course, she said no. Remember, she never spent the night away from her home. So Johnson went out to get them some food. But on his way back, he stopped at a pharmacy and told the pharmacist that his brother cannot sleep and that he needed to buy sleeping pills that can help his brother to sleep. The pharmacist said he had 3 kinds of pills, and Johnson bought the most powerful one.
Now, when he got home, he grinded all the tablets and mixed them up with juice. According to Johnson, Janet usually takes 1 glass of juice, but that day, she drank all the juice and fell asleep. Johnson says that she was weak, but she was still alive. He stayed with her and they made love for the 2nd time. After that, he went out again, but left her still sleeping. According to him, they slept together in the same place that night.
So he was right that she would sleep over that night.
That's right. But in the morning, when Johnson tried to wake her, she did not respond. Now, he thought she was still sleeping, so he went out. But when he returned later that afternoon, that's when he confirmed that she was actually dead.
At this point, Johnson was afraid. That Friday evening, he called one of his brothers, that's Gideon, and told him to come over to the house right away. He told his brother that there was no problem, but that he needed him to come over. Gideon immediately went to the house where he found out that somebody was dead. Gideon is Johnson's younger brother, and he did not want to have anything to do with the situation. But Johnson eventually managed to convince Gideon to help. The 2 brothers took Janet's body out and put her in the septic tank and covered the place with sand and cement. In his own words, Johnson said, "I did that out of fear. Janet did not do anything to me. She is a good woman. She has been helping me. I did not know that she would die. I did not know that she would die."
Now, the police have a slightly different perspective on what happened. According to them, Janet, who was Johnson's Facebook friend, was lured from her home in Gwagwalada to visit Johnson. Johnson then took advantage of the visit, served her yogurt laced with drugs, and subsequently had her murdered. The police obviously have their reasons for why they believe what they believe, and it really doesn't help Johnson's story that he quickly sold his house within a week after he buried Janet in the septic tank.
Yeah, and it doesn't help that he had Janet's car repainted from green to maroon and then changed the vehicle documents and ownership over to his name, and also called her family claiming to be a kidnapper and asking for 5 million naira ransom.
I know, right? So, according to Johnson in his confession, he says he is not a kidnapper and that he used that as an excuse or a trick to take suspicion off from him.
Oh, so if the police are looking for a kidnapper, then they wouldn't look for him.
Exactly, that's right. And Johnson insists that Janet's death was an accident. He says that she may have died as a result of the sleeping drugs he used in the drink he offered her.
But I'm still so confused. What got into this man? Why didn't he just admit it was a mistake in the first place?
Maybe it wasn't a mistake. Maybe the police are right and that he lured her in order to take advantage. Both the police and Johnson agreed that Janet died in his custody. But the issue here is, was it actually an accident or was it intentional? I honestly don't know. I think the attempt to cover up really hurt his case. If it was an accident, Johnson would have to somehow prove that he was dating Janet. And the Nigerian police have heard this dating story before. Remember Cynthia Osokogu's case? The guy there said he was dating Cynthia, but that turned out to be false.
I mean, if you really had been dating someone for 2 years and they die by accident, is it reasonable to then bury them in a septic tank, sell your house, and then take their car? I get it if he panicked and ran to his people in the village and left everything behind, but all the things he did, from the kidnapping phone call to repainting the car, that just doesn't add up to someone who made a mistake.
Very true. Now for his brothers, Gideon and Success, they were also arrested. Johnson insists that they knew nothing about what happened to Janet and were only involved afterwards because of him. Gideon helped him bury her body, and Success said he was asked to go and receive her car.
So the arrest happened last year in 2020. Do we know what happened to them?
Well, the case is still ongoing and we hope that Janet and her family gets justice.
You know what? I think this case has taught me that I need to have at least one friend who always knows my movements.
Yep, that's right. My family knows where I am all the time.
And if you are a guy in a secret relationship, guy, if something happens to that lady under your custody, you are on your own. Unless at least one person knows. So at least confide in someone.
And if you make a mistake, don't cover it up. The cover-up is so much worse than the actual mistake. Join us next week as we cover yet another story. This time, it's the story of a woman who was found by a riverbank, chopped up into pieces. True Crime NAIJA is a Triple E media production. Copyright 2021 Triple E Media Productions. If you enjoyed this episode of True Crime NAIJA and want to hear more, subscribe to our 234 Audio YouTube channel. Visit our website at 234audio.com and download our 234 Audio app. Episodes of this podcast and our other podcasts can also be found on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, and wherever you get your podcasts. Subscribe and leave us a review. This episode was produced by Richard Anyebe, Anthonieta Kalunta, Maria Okmashi, John Iwodi, Dominic Tabakaji, Sam Tabakaji, and Nico Rivers. Executive producer Rahmat Muhammad. Special thanks to Rabia Hadejia, Aredi Isha, and Mala Iwa Gbado Ikaleku. Stay alert, stay alive. See you next